was cool.
Yeah, I've been donating stuff for a long time. I mean, pretty much anytime I get something that has some kind of value to it, I pretty much, they're in my area, Salvation Army, we have them, we have Savers, we have Goodwill. What's interesting, and you obviously shouldn't take advantage of this, but just speaking of lowering your taxes each year. So we have a place here called Savers. They're just kind of another Goodwill
Yeah.
entity. They're just basically a charity or a place that takes things in for free and sells them for a profit. Um, and basically, what's interesting about them is they actually just give you the tax receipt. They don't even write in the value or anything. They let you determine the value as the donator or the seller.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting deal. I've taken all kinds of stuff there before. Sometimes I'll take older phones in that I've had just sitting around and end up selling that I might have paid $1 or two for. But what I'll do is I will just price them at, half of what the retail value was because, even though the phone might not have sold at one time, it was worth money. It might be worth money to somebody who needs a phone that's older. So there's a lot of ways that you can reduce your taxes. The only thing is there is a limit in how much you can claim each year for donations. However, in this industry, since we're dealing with small, high value items, you can get up to that, right up to that limit often if you're donating everything. Cases
Yeah.
are a big thing. Like, that's a good thing that you brought that up. I guess I just kind of figured that other people were doing that, but like this phone right here, this little case, even though it's nothing great, I mean, if you save up 10 cases from all the little cheapy phones that you take in, and even if you're only writing these off for $5 a piece, I mean, it's still, it's a lot of money when you get 10 of
Yeah.
them together or 20 of them together. I mean, I've had boxes before worth of cases where I'll take them in and we'll donate them, and then you get a tax write-off for it, which is great because it just basically comes off the top of your income, which is awesome.
Well, thinking about that on a higher level. So like I also got from that same deal, I got 30 Windows Vista era desktops. They're like 2 gigs of RAM, 80 gig hard drives, Core 2 Duo, complete garbage. But I only paid $75 for all 30 of them, like total. So I was thinking about it. The Salvation Army recommends for a desktop you can write off anywhere between $100 and $400 for a desktop computer. If I donated them all, that's like a $12,000 write-off. So I guess what I'm wondering is it like, do they even check? Like, what exactly do you need to turn in? Say I were to get audited and I donated these things, like, does the receipt just cover it?
I can't necessarily give you a 100% firm answer because I'm not an accountant and I'm not
Yeah.
a lawyer, but my understanding is, I mean, that tax receipt that they give you when you go into the donation center and they give you a receipt or a write-off and you have to write the value on there and they sign off on it. In a sense, yeah, that is your receipt from them, and they're basically agreeing with what you had said on that receipt. So if you go there and you donate, say, 20 laptops and it's a $10,000 write-off, if you do that in front of them and they sign off on it, I'm not sure how yours works, but a lot of them here you have to write it down and then they'll sign off on it. But
Yeah, that's how it works here.
if you do that, that's them acknowledging that the price that you gave is fair based on the quantity or based on the quality items that you gave. And you should be able to just take that to your accountant. And obviously, you're going to want to have a separate pile for your donationable write-off, but shouldn't be a problem. And to confirm that, you'd probably want to talk to an accountant in your area.
Yeah.
But because there is a limit on write-off, otherwise, everybody would be doing that, or they'd be looking for deals, because basically finding deals then would be almost the same as buying something and then reselling it, because you're buying it for cheaper and getting the donation for higher. There definitely is a limit of it, and I don't know if every state's different or if it's federal, but you're going to want to see what your state or your federal laws are as far as the maximum amount that you can donate. But it's definitely better than throwing things away. That's 100% sure. And, letting your trash build up or whatever in your office. But what I do typically is every week, I will go and make a donations run on stuff that's not selling or stuff that's not going to sell, or, stuff that was damaged, or cases that I just don't want. Like, I've got 3 or 4 of them sitting in my desk right now. So all good stuff to donate, and just something to keep in mind to keep your income down.
Yeah. Now, like, what is that limit? 'Cause I think there's like a form you have to fill out if you donate more than $5,000 at one time. But if you do it broken up, I don't know if that form still applies, or if there's a separate, like, what is the limit that you're talking about?
So basically the limit that I'm talking about that I'm referring to, and I'm not sure if it's changed for in 2019, but basically I was told that there is a limit to the amount of all charitable contributions allowed during a tax year. So basically your total charitable deduction or your total deductions can exceed 50% of your adjusted gross income. So basically you can't go over that threshold. So if you make, say, $100,000 in a year, you're not going to be able to try and write out $50,000 worth of income. Like, that's not going to fly, because it doesn't really make any sense that you only made 100,000 plus all the taxes and deductions you have, plus you have all these charitable deductions that are over 50% of your adjusted gross income.
But, let's say you make 100 grand and you donate 30, 35 grand in non-cash items like donations, that's considered kosher.
From what I was told the other year, I mean, this is 2018, but what I was told is that basically within 1 year, your charitable contributions that may be taxable deductible in a given year are typically 50% of a taxpayer's adjusted gross income. So basically, if you're doing anything like absurd, you're not going to be able to do that. But it just depends on the cap. But what I was told is that in 2019, is that the tax law as of 2018, they basically made it less likely that it'll make financial sense to itemize your donations, because the standard deduction has been raised, which increased the possibility that taxpayers might be better off opting to take it rather than to itemize. So basically, like, there's two different ways that you can get charitable donations. You're able to itemize everything and do it out that way, or you're able to just write everything off in a lump dollar or some amount, and then you have the receipts from these charitable places. But what I was told, at least for here, what I was told is that the cap is actually $10,000. So, but when you have an LLC, I want to say that it is a little bit different, because you could have your personal donations and then you could also have your business donations. So it's kind of a complicated question subject.
That was something else I was going to ask. So as far as a donation, obviously you're writing it off your personal taxes. It can be anything. But if you're writing it off of your business taxes, does it have to be things owned by your business or directly related to your business?
Well, you would want to separate that. Like, typically, if you have a legitimate business, you should be filing like a personal tax form, and then you should be filing a business tax form, unless your business is your only source of income. But keep in mind too, so that 50% donation threshold, basically, that only applies to certain organizations like churches, institutions, and basically what's defined by the IRS. So you'll want to talk to an accountant, because it depends on what you're donating to. So then there's also a lower limit of only 30% of your gross income, which applies to other types of charitable groups, which is categorized under the lower marks, which is basically like veterans organizations, fraternal societies, nonprofit, cemeteries, and certain private foundations. So you really need to find out from an accountant on what and where you can all deduct from as far as charitable stuff, what the cap is. And if you want to try and hit that 50%, which, hey, great, if you want to donate every little thing that you get in the phone clipping business that you can't resell, or it's just not worth your time and you could just get a tax benefit from it rather than selling it, it's best to talk to an accountant.
Well, I guess what I was getting at with that is, now, I mean, my situation is a little bit different, because I don't have like a separately formed S corp or anything. So I think I just file my one tax return for personal, and it's filed as like a sole prop, so
yeah,
it covers both. But say I were to donate, like, going outside the box a little bit, say I donate like a bag of clothes, they let you write off things like that. So, let's say you get your write off to like reasonably, let's say $500 in a bag. Is it against the IRS code to write that off on your business expenses, since it's not related to your business?
Well, just common sense wise, like I said, not an attorney, not a tax person, but if I were to use common sense, you know how the IRS works. They have a million laws. The IRS has so many laws that not even the IRS knows their own laws unless they look at them and cite them and look every one of them up. But that being said, all things considered, do you really think the IRS wants people taking their bundles of clothes and getting charitable receipts, and then also being able to deduct that income from their business. If it's not for your business, or if it's not from your business, I wouldn't ever consider it a deduction, whether it's charitable or even like a write-off. Like when I go to Walmart and I buy 2 t-shirts, unless the receipt says that it's a tie and a nice shirt, like I could probably deduct that from my business. But if you're just going there and you're buying jeans and shoes, and then you buy a loaf of bread on the receipt too, you can't deduct personal stuff from your business.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. I mean, at least to my knowledge, I could be wrong, but I would definitely say no on that. I would keep all of your charitable donations itemized, just because of the fact that you do only have one income. So technically, I mean, you're going to just be filing under a sole proprietorship. There isn't going to be multiple tax forms or multiple, basically, there isn't going to be multiple tax itemizations for each one of your businesses, because you only have one business. So there's going to be one tax breakdown, not 3. And you want to definitely keep all of your stuff recorded very well. Like for you, your business income is also your personal income. You would want to keep that as itemized as possible, just because of the fact that, if you have 5 charitable receipts and you don't have it itemized out, that may raise a red flag, because they're going to be like, well, what is this kid donating? Is he donating his clothes? Is he donating personal things? So it's just something to keep in mind.
Okay. But yeah, like I've been getting, when I write out the receipts, I, try to describe the item without putting, like, for example, when I donated, what did I donate? I donated like an HP printer that I had that was sealed. It was like a lower end one. And I wrote it off at 150. I just put, sealed HP printer.
Sure.
So like itemized, but it's not enough that they can go look and say, hey, this is only worth $40. But it's, it's itemized in a way that looks good. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to see it. I figured you knew about it, but I didn't know if anyone else knew about it. I don't even know who else is on the chat tonight.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, this is a good thing for people to talk about and everything. Welcome, Hamid. Hey, we're just talking about how you can maximize getting tax write-offs by taking things that you already purchased and donating them to tax organizations or charitable organizations that give you tax write-offs, such as Goodwill Savers, Salvation Army, all that good stuff. And basically, it's just extra profit in a sense, or tax write-offs. So if you have any questions, I'm not sure who you are in the group or if you're new, but if you are, welcome to the chat. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ask.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Can you hear me, Luke?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so basically, I bought the course about probably 6 or 7 months ago, and I went through all the videos, and then I had some family issues and everything, so I couldn't continue. I couldn't actually start the flipping myself. So now,
Sure.
I'm just about to get back into the game. So I'm going through the videos one by one, and I'm going through the group chats as well. There's probably about 60 something, so I'm just trying to, just to freshen up in all the materials,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of group chats to go through. There's a lot of information. Yeah.
There's stuff in there, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about the issues you had before, but I'm glad you're back. I'm glad, obviously, it sounds like that's taken care of. And, if you need any help or any, just anything, if you need anything, any help, questions, whatever, I know family problems can be difficult. Make sure you reach out, whether it's Messenger in the Facebook group, and I'll do my best to help you.
Certainly, I appreciate that, man. So I'm just going to hang around and just try and learn as much as I can and ask some questions, in due time.
Sounds good. Yeah, I usually keep everyone's mics muted in the group unless we're both talking specifically to each other. So if you see the chat, like I typed to you earlier and said welcome, if you have any questions, type them out in the chat, and I'll announce them out in the group chat, and we'll go over them then. So.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Bet. All right, so what we were talking about earlier, Josh had an important topic. He was just basically bringing up different organizations that you can donate stuff to. So example, for anybody watching this replay, just a quick recap in case you skipped through the group chat. If you buy a phone like this Galaxy S3, I think I picked it up for like $10. Probably was actually less than that. I see it's got actually it doesn't have a cracked screen. Got excited. It's got a cracked screen protector, but I probably picked this up for like $5 to $10. It's been sitting on my desk for a little bit. And I'm probably going to sell this, give it its clean ESN for probably like $35, $40. So, it'll be easy money, not a huge profit. But this case right here, now if I sold this on eBay, because this is a cheap phone, so I'll probably just sell it on eBay. It's not going to a direct buyer. If I'm going to make $40 and I paid $5 for it, so I make $35 profit, I could potentially take this case. And this case on eBay really isn't going to get me any more money. And if I sold it to a direct buyer, even if this was a newer phone, I'm not getting any more money for this. And it's extra weight to ship the phone. Not much, but hey, it's still extra weight. So what we're going to do is you're going to want to take a box. And you're going to set the box aside somewhere in your office, just a nice big empty box. And every time you get a phone that has a case in it, instead of throwing those cases out, take those cases and throw them in the box in your office. And then once a week or once every 2 weeks, depending on how much volume you have, you can take all of these cases into a Goodwill, a Savers, a Salvation Army, or whatever charitable donation you have around you and donate all those and get a tax receipt. So every time you do that, you're getting a little bit more profit or bringing your income down, which in the sense is the same way as bringing in profit because you're getting these items basically for free because as you know, when we purchase phones, we don't pay extras for accessories or cases unless they are name brands such as LifeProof and OtterBox. But even then, if you throw somebody an extra $5 for a LifeProof case or an OtterBox, you could probably donate that at a charitable donation, given it's in good working order for $20 to $25 write-off. So you're still making money on it. So just one way to look at that. But anyways, I'm going to jump into today's group chat. What we are going to talk about and what I want to talk to everybody about today. And I want to point out something that's very important that not a lot of people are probably going to catch. But we've got over 78 group chats now on the YouTube channel that I've got. So that's a lot of group chats. And what I want to talk about today is not letting things that really don't have any impact on your success affect your success. And that is stop worrying about things that truly don't matter. If they don't matter or they don't affect your success, you need to stop worrying about it and stop putting effort into it. So last week's group chat was an interesting group chat. We talked about basically how you could transition from a full-time job or a part-time job into flipping full-time, or basically how to spend more time flipping phones rather than, focusing on your job. Now, an interesting thing that I brought up in the group chat, and I didn't talk about it very much, but I talked about it briefly, and it was politics. And I mentioned in the group chat that I don't do politics, I don't care about politics, and I really have no opinion on politics. As long as the economy is good and my business is good, that's really all that matters. And what I want to bring up here is something very interesting that I noticed about that group chat. And what I noticed is that group chat got 4 thumbs down. And it's not that I care so much, but I thought it was a very important detail that what I noticed why those thumbs down probably happened on that group chat, and out of every other group chat that I've uploaded, I've never received that many thumbs down. Maybe 1, maybe 2, but this one had 4. It was like a 50-50 like to dislike ratio. And I think the reason is I brought up politics and I brought up the President Trump. Like I said, no bias. I don't care if you like him or you do like him or you don't like him. It really doesn't matter to me. But what I noticed is that people took the time to thumbs down that video, and it was probably people who dislike the president, which is totally fine. Doesn't matter to me at all. But what I'm getting at here is that too many people in the world and in life, in business, focus on things that don't matter and have zero impact on their success. And ultimately, what these things are is they're big distractions. And the reason why people focus on things that distract them, people focus on things that don't really matter or have an impact on their success, is because people are very opinionated and people act on emotions. And what you'll learn is that with business, there is no emotions. It's only rational and logical. See, people want to talk about politics or they want to talk about their favorite football team on and on and on because people want to voice their opinion. They want to be heard. They want to talk about emotions. They act on their emotions and then they end up talking about them, their feelings towards something. But when it comes to business, you have to cut all of that stuff out and try and focus on what matters and what works. Now, something that I'm going to give an example of is the past 7 years that I've been in business, I haven't paid really attention to anybody who's in office besides when I would sit down for Christmas dinner and, grandpa over here is talking about who's president and what he's doing and they're all talking and everybody's yapping back and forth. That's the only time I really pay attention to who's in office. Because what I've noticed is is it doesn't matter whether Obama was president, Trump was president, whether George Bush was president. My success has not been by whom is in office. It has been by my own self-worth, my pride, my work ethic. It's all dependent on me. All of those three things. The pride that I take in myself, the self-worth that I have about myself, like I feel that I hold myself to a certain standard, and then my work ethic. So what you're going to learn is that the less time that you spend focusing on television and all this drama and this news, and what I call it is basically brain bloat. It literally bloats your brain down with useless information. Half of it's not even true because it's on the news. And hey, the news people really are some of the best salesmen out there in the world. They know how to get a rise out of everybody in America and make them mad and make them talk about a topic for months. And their ratings go up and they get paid big money. News people are salesmen. And there's a saying out there, and it's called every salesman's got a small tail. Things might be 90% true, but there might be 10% that's not. But something to keep in mind is that you'll notice most successful people in the world, their success isn't determined by who's in office. They don't care about people or things that don't affect their success. Bill Gates was rich, 15 elections ago. But I want to keep this topic alive because I see a lot of people with the election growing up. I just see a lot of people in my newsfeed on Facebook, even flippers and students or fellow coaches. They keep talking about elections and all this stuff. And really what you got to do is you got to just focus on the money. You got to focus on things that matter, things that work. Okay, it really doesn't matter whom becomes president. If Facebook is a really good ad generating revenue for you for phone flipping, learn more about Facebook because Facebook isn't going anywhere. It doesn't really matter who becomes president or what happens. You need to focus on things that you can control and things that you can predict. If you can't predict something, like if you can't predict what's going to happen with something or what's going to happen with somebody, don't worry about that. You can predict your own future by saying, hey, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. I'm going to learn more today. I'm going to post more ads. I'm going to do more today. Don't focus on other things. Life is literally not based on other people, but it's based on you. Too many people want to blame their problems on other people. And that's why it's important not to focus on things that don't matter. They literally don't matter. The people who are poor nowadays or people who are really, just having a hard time or they're just having a hard time focusing, they were having a hard time 20 years ago. They still haven't gotten it down yet. Okay, now I'm not saying some people can't change out there, but if you just look at the trend, people who are wealthy, they've been wealthy since 20 years ago. People who are poor, they were poor 20 years ago. Now, this isn't always the case, but it happens more often than not. And so as I just said, what you need to focus on, the big thing that you need to focus on is focus on yourself, focus on your business, focus on the money. Stop worrying about the news on the TV. Don't have any brain bloat. Stop worrying about elections. Stop worrying about drama. Stop worrying about any of that. Focus on things that are going to make you money, make you smarter. Something that I'm going to reveal today that I think I might have mentioned a few times in group chat that's really interesting, and I think a lot of you are going to be shocked. But when I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17, I haven't had cable TV since I moved out of my parents' house. I have not had any cable since I was 17 years old. I haven't watched any TV. Now, I am guilty of having Netflix. I do have Netflix, but I watch it very seldomly. I do have a girlfriend who loves to watch Netflix, and so I get sucked into it sometimes. But up until I had a girlfriend, I never really sat around the TV, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've been so sharp when it comes to answering people, helping people, questioning people, is because I don't really have anything going on up here besides reading books, reading articles online, listening to YouTube videos that are beneficial, and I do listen to music occasionally. But for the most part, my life is pretty serious. And I don't intend it to always be this way in the future. I hope to relax. I hope to, maybe I do want to watch some TV. But as it sits right now, during my youth, I'm trying to move as fast as I can forward. I figure that if I live life as fast as possible, I'll get more time in the end. So I'm trying to get everything done while I'm sharp. When I'm 40 or 50 years old, if I want to sit there and watch TV and not do anything because I've made my millions, I guess that's fine. But something to keep in mind, if you are just starting in business, distractions and brain bloat from TV, media, news, elections, political drama, and even sports teams. Some people get really wrapped up in sports. That is one of my biggest secrets for being successful is no politics, no sports, and honestly, no TV. Those are the three things. Keep those things out of your life. Now, if you can have a healthy balance where, hey, you can talk about politics for 10 minutes and not get heated and mad, great. But there's not a lot of people out there that can do that. I've literally seen people at restaurants talk about politics and they literally end up fumigating, yelling, and somebody walks out of the room. Same thing with football games. I've seen people talk about football games at a family dinner. One of them says something that the other person doesn't like, and they literally get red in the face and they leave. Stop focusing on stuff that doesn't matter, that doesn't determine your success. That's one of the biggest things that I've done. And I know a lot of people think it's really weird. I've had girlfriends, their parents will say, "Oh, who's your favorite football team?" And I'm like, "I'm not really sure. I don't really watch football." And they're all like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's just not really for me." But the bigger picture behind it is the fact that I don't do the distractions. I just don't. Because if you do that, you literally lose sight of your goals and your dreams. And one easy thing to keep track of your goals and dreams, guys, is get a big whiteboard like I got behind me. And one of the biggest things that you want to do is in your office, pin up some pictures of things that you want in life, whether it's traveling, a new car, a new house, or a new life, or maybe it's a new girlfriend. I don't know. Okay. But pin something up in your office that you have to visually see every single day and tell yourself you're going to get that. You're going to have that. It's kind of like the saying of writing your check for $1 million and writing it to yourself and telling yourself, I'm going to get that someday. The biggest thing is cutting out all the distractions and focusing on yourself and that goal that you have, or goals, plural. So that being said, I just wanted to see what everybody else here in the group chat tonight thinks of what I just said. And if any of you guys can kind of relate. Hamid said in the chat, you got the master plan. There is just so much distraction, social media, sports, politics. Exactly.
Josh, oh my
what do you
God,
got?
dude. I've been saying this for a while, dude.
So you can relate.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm completely with you. And honestly, I'm kind of glad I'm not the only one who like makes their entire life about this. You know?
Definitely.
Like, it's just one of those things where other people aren't aware of how much they base their life on things like, even just like you said with cable TV, you know, like the amount of people I know who go home and watch TV for 3 hours straight, and then they're shocked when I like I have a 65-inch TV and I turn it on maybe once a week, and they're just like, you know, oh, have you watched this new show? No, I haven't. And it's like a foreign concept to them that I don't sit around and watch TV all day. It's funny to watch, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's one of the bigger problems. You know, it's not so much that people can't do it, but it's just not the norm, you know. And I don't know if it's like this in other countries. Obviously, you know, I'm from America. We're all from America. We do have a couple Canadian people in the group, and we do have a couple United Kingdom people in the group. But in America, I think a lot of people grew up watching their parents work, and then they come home, and then it's dinner, and then it's TV time for 3 or 4 or 5 hours. And my parents did that a lot when I was a kid. But as I grew up, first off, I realized cable's like $100 a month, which I didn't really care for. And then on top of that, it's a big time sink. I mean, if I watched 3 hours or 4 hours of TV, I wouldn't have any time. I'm doing the group chat right now from 7 to 7:30. And then if I want to watch TV for the next 3 hours, that takes me until 10 o'clock. I'm not going to get any office work done or post any ads. So the biggest thing is cutting those distractions out and focusing on what matters and not focusing on everybody else's opinions and acting off of your emotions. It's just not going to get you anywhere. But anyways, everybody, thank you for showing up for the group chat. I really appreciate it. And I hope all of you have an awesome week. We are coming up into the cold months, so get some money saved up. There's a lot of sales happening out there on Christmas. You'll see a lot of phones, a lot of electronics. You'll just see a lot of stuff spike up. And make sure to keep a big eye out on the Black Friday sales that are going to be happening. You'll probably be able to make some money off those. I know I do every year, so just keep all of that in mind. But that being said, everybody, thanks for showing up for the group chat. We will do another one next Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Every Monday these happen. These are for our paid members only. So if you want to interact in these, you want to get on these, send me a message, get in the course, get in the group, and we'll get you in on these. So that being said, thanks a lot, everybody, and I'll see you guys on the next group chat.